In today's project, we're going to add some adhesive vinyl to this candle from Kmart to create this decorative candle. Let's make this. My inspiration for this project is actually weirdly Christmas. So I love when the lanterns and those paper lamps that everyone makes at Christmas time, I think they're beautiful. And then I thought, well, why don't we do that a little bit more throughout the year? So I got this little candle from Kmart. It smells delicious, by the way. It's absolutely delicious, but it says it's guava, but I think it's really zesty. It's a bit more like a grapefruit flavour. But anyway, so I wanted to see if I could decorate it and see what the vinyl would do in a daytime versus nighttime situation. So I'm going to have a go at that. The materials for today's project are very, very minimal. I've just got my standard grip mat. I've got my scrap adhesive vinyl folder. And then I've got a candle that I got from Kmart, the guava and sorbet flavour. That was a couple of dollars. So we're going to do this whole project in Design Space. I was going to use Canva, but when I had a little play around, I realised that everything I needed was actually in Design Space. So rather than trying to flip through between two different programs, I'm just going to use Design Space. So I'm starting with the shape of my candle. Now, the shape of the candle is 25 centimetres around the top and 24 around the bottom, which means it's not an exact cylinder. And I was going to try and create the right shape for a 25 around the top and a 24 around the bottom, and then I just went, oh, this is too complicated. So I thought, no, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it, Nita. Go for it. Just make a 25 centimetres. So I've got a rectangle, and I've made it 25 centimetres across and 9 centimetres down. That's the height of the candle as well as the circumference. And then I'm going to start with the word zesty. So I've just typed that, and I'm looking for a font that isn't too cutesy. I want it to have a little bit of sophistication about it. So I've chosen Chi-Town or Chi-Town for the word zesty. I like the Art Deco vibe of that font. And then I'm going to go into images, and I'm going to type pattern. Now, once I've typed pattern, I'm going to change the filter to free. Now, I expected to find nothing, but look at how many patterns there are that are free. Now, you can choose whatever you like. I just wanted to have a look at this flower one, but I worked out pretty quickly that wasn't what I was after. I'm after something that maybe suits that font. So as I scroll down, I found this one here, and it's got a bit of a star to it. I like it. It's a bit Art Deco-y. It's a bit Moroccan, you know, this zesty flavour or the zesty smell. So I'm just going to duplicate that, and because it's kind of the perfect height, and then because it's this repetitive pattern, I can actually join it. So I've overlapped it just the tiniest little bit, because if you don't overlap it completely, it's going to just come out as two separate pieces, and I don't want to have to align them later. And then I'm just going to align them. So I've just aligned them top, so then they're perfect. And then I'm just going to combine them. So I've highlighted both, I've gone down to combine, and I've united them. So now they're one piece, which is great because then I can just cut one piece. Now I'm going to play around with the word zesty. So I want to fill up that space a little bit. I don't want to have another set of shapes. So I've started with hitting on that combine and unite again, because if I unite that word, what I can actually do is elongate it. So if I try and elongate the word without uniting it, it uses it as a text. But if I unite it, it all of a sudden becomes an image kind of file. And so I can manipulate it a bit more. So I was able to just stretch it. I don't recommend doing this with every font, but some of these fonts you can actually do a really good stretch of it, and it still looks like a good font. So you can see there that I've just made it a bit taller, and it still looks nice, I think. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments below. And now I've decided, oh, let's turn it a bit punny, because I do like a pun. So I'm going to put a script text, and I've chosen the word mama, or the font mama, and I'm just making it I'm feeling. So I'm feeling zesty, everyone. So you can see there that I'm overlapping the I'm feeling over the top of the zesty. Now I'm going to create an offset. Now that offset around I'm feeling is 0.1. And then I'm going to slice the offset and the offset of I'm feeling and the word zesty, just so that when I cut this vinyl, the I'm feeling will nestle nicely into the word zesty rather than it trying to overlap. And the reason I don't like overlapping it like that, and if you've watched for a little while, you'll know that that is one of the things I really don't like, is because it bubbles. It kind of, you can see the ridges as you put it over the top. So I do that. I like doing the offset. If you wanted to, you don't even have to make it a 0.1. You could do a 0 offset and then delete just the 0 offset from the word zesty. So you can do that if you like to. Then, now that I've positioned it, I've just gotten rid of the rectangle. I've changed the color of the tile pattern to the same color as the word I'm feeling zesty. That way it can go all on one mat. And because I'm just using scrap vinyl, one mat's great because I can just do all the cuts at once. Just move them each to separate corners, and then I just hit continue. All of the vinyls are similar. I think they've all come from HTV Ront, so they all have the same cut. So just change it to vinyl, and then let's go and produce. Now that we've cut everything and everything's weeded, now it's just a matter of getting this onto the candle. Now, this label was made to stay on this candle. So I'm definitely speeding this up. No one needs to watch this. But I just thought I'd leave it on here because I just wanted to talk about how to get labels off. So I have heard that if I just used a hairdryer, that might have come off straight away. But I also love eucalyptus oil. The reason I love eucalyptus oil is because it gets everything off. So I'm just doing a little bit of a rip to start with, and then I'm just going to use some eucalyptus oil over the top of that. And what it does is kind of starts lifting the sticker. And then I'm going to go back in with that scraper tool, and then I'm going to do it again. And then once all of that sticky stuff, all the paper is up, then I just go over it again with some eucalyptus oil because that lifts all the sticky off there and it gives us a nice smooth surface. Make sure you go back over that with some rubbing alcohol because the eucalyptus oil obviously is a little bit greasy and a little bit oily, and you don't want that preventing your vinyl from sticking. So make sure that you do then go over it with your rubbing alcohol. I just use Isocol that I got from Coles. I just use a tea towel to create a little cradle, and I've done that in a few projects. So if you want to go back and have a look at the bottle that I did at the beginning of the year, both the New Year's Eve bottle and my water bottle, you'll see how I use the cradle, use a tea towel to create a cradle. I'm going to start by adding my pattern. The reason I'm starting with the pattern is because I think this is going to be the trickiest bit. And The process of putting this pattern down was quite torturous, to be honest, and my filming does go off the screen a bit because I'm trying so hard to get it to be even, but you'll see as I go through. To start off with, the first half of this is great because it fits nicely, it goes all the way around, everything's fantastic, but then because we've got that top bit that is 25 centimeters and the bottom bit that's 24 centimeters, we run into a few glitches. I ended up doing a little bit of cutting the I didn't cut the vinyl, but I cut the transfer tape so that I was able to manipulate it a little bit, and you can see right at the end of the piece some of those little star bits come together. It's not hugely noticeable, and I probably, if anyone else was looking at it, probably no one else would notice too closely. But what I wish I had done, and here's a little trick for you, I would probably have started at each end and came into the middle, because the middle of this decorative vinyl is actually the back of the candle. And so if I had started and gone from one end inwards and then gone from the other edge and inwards, then the overlapping, or it didn't even overlap that much. It actually just kind of, the pattern gets a little bit crowded. That would have been at the back and it wouldn't have been as noticeable. But it's a matter of, and I'll show you as I go through, but there's just some bits where I've cut the actual transfer tape. The other thing was that I put too much liquid down. So the wet method, which is really good for making sure that bubbles don't occur under your vinyl. So I just use a little bit of spray, which has got water and some tiniest little bit of detergent in it. It then became too wet for the vinyl, so it wasn't sticking down. So I had, this is actually really tricky. And if anyone has any other tricks or hints, I am going to try one of these again because I think that it's necessary. I've got to really beat this nemesis. But if anyone knows what shape I should be using to do this, where something is bigger at the top and smaller at the bottom, please let me know. I'm sure if I start doing some Googling, and I will, I'll find the shape that I need. But I really would like to just make it myself because I really like the idea of making things custom. So bear with me. I will speed this up now. I've started, and you can see already that it's starting to go off the screen. So it's not going to be an easy watch, and I'll show what I can. Otherwise, it'll all be sped up. So now that the torch is over, it's just a matter of putting our text down. So I'm going to start with the word zesty. The reason I want to start with the word zesty is because I know that the I'm feeling needs to fit in there. So if I put it's kind of like putting the base down first, then putting the top on. Oh my God, I've done this off the screen. Oh dear. So I did zesty off the out of camera. I'm really sorry, but so I did zesty first. It went down very easily, and now I've got the I'm feeling. So the I'm feeling needs to nestle in to those little gaps that Zesty has been that we created in Zesty using our contour tool in Design Space. And so I just see how I just need to line it up. And my computer isn't near my table, or it's not that close. So I actually needed to try and remember where the E's and the L's went. But it fits nicely though. Look, I was actually getting a little worried here because I thought that it was going to overlap the pattern after all the issue I had with the pattern. But it didn't. It goes on perfectly. See how good the glass is? Like, it's not hard to put the vinyl down. And actually, look, when you put it all together and you just have a look, I think it's definitely giving that 1950. Oh yeah, look at that side. Definitely giving that 1970s, 1980s. You know those little glasses that your grandma used to have that had the patterns on it. I don't know if you all did it, but mine certainly did. But I like it. I can see the issues. I'm not sure if everyone else can though. This actually has turned out really cute. I do like it. I know that there were a few issues with the production, but I think this is worth having a play around with. I would probably have chosen a pattern that didn't rely on so much precision. That would be my only change. Look at how great it looks at night though. It has actually done what I wanted it to do. I wanted that candle to start melting and then actually light up the whole glass, and I think it's done that. It looks really good during the day too. I think probably maybe the colouring could have been a bit better. I could have chosen the darker green, I think, is probably what I should have done. But other than that, I actually really like this, and I think it's a great project, a great one if you want a quick gift to give to someone. The candle was a couple of dollars, and you're just using your scrap vinyl, so why not have a go? I hope you've enjoyed today's project. I know it was a bit skew-iff on the camera work, but I've enjoyed making it. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and maybe you can have a go. I'll see you next week for a new project. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget, you can always jump on my Instagram, head over to my Etsy store, or even check out the videos YouTube recommends for you down below.